Okay, so the Cannes lineup just came out, and I wanted to give 10 movies that I'm anticipating. I'm not really going to edit this. This is going to be pretty loose, so I will just be really quick about it. Number 10 is a film called Leave One Day, which is apparently the opening day film directed by someone named Emile Bonin. This is her feature debut, which is surprising. I think it's the first time that a feature debut has been the opening day Cannes movie. But I don't know anything about it. I'm interested in seeing what the buzz is. Obviously, I'm not going to Cannes because I'm not like rich. Number 9 is Alpha, which is the latest from Julia Ducournau. The most recent thing she directed was Titan. She's very body horror. I was not a big fan of Titan. Everyone else seemed to really like it. I thought it was a little much, but I do somewhat gravitate towards body horror, I think, and this is about a girl who gets bullied at school because they think that she is like has some new disease or something. Sounds interesting. I might check it out, but I probably won't like it. Number 8 is History of Sound. This is uh, from Oliver Humanus. I've never seen anything he's made, but I know that he made Living, that Ikiru remake with Bill Nye. And this is, I believe, based on a book, and it stars Josh O'Connor and Paul Mescal as two journalists or reporters or something that are going around recording and interviewing people during World War One. That's about as far as I know about this movie, but the casting of Josh O'Connor and Paul Mescal makes me very excited. They're two of the most interesting new stars in Hollywood, and I don't know a lot about this, but I can't wait to check it out. Number 7 is Mission Impossible: Final Reckoning. I didn't love Dead Reckoning. I've only seen Dead Reckoning and Fallout, and I thought Fallout was one of the best action movies I've really ever seen. And I thought Dead Reckoning was okay, but also like way too long and very exposition heavy, and the AI thing was weird. And obviously, this is a pretty direct sequel to Dead Reckoning. This is also being marketed as the final Mission Impossible movie, which I highly doubt. We'll see. But yeah, I believe the last Tom Cruise movie to debut at Cannes was Top Gun Maverick, and we all know how that went. That movie is absolutely incredible. So yeah, I'm on the Mission Impossible train for sure. I think this is going to be pretty solid. Number 6 is Highest to Lowest. This is the new Spike Lee movie. It is a remake of Akira Kurosawa's 1960s classic High to Low, and it actually wasn't announced whenever they announced all of them, all the movies. But then Spike Lee was like, "Hey, I'm at Cannes too." I don't know why they forgot, but it's premiering out of competition, which I don't really know how that works, but it just means it's not eligible for like the Palme d'Or or any of the major prizes. But yeah, this is gonna start Denzel Washington and Jeffrey Wright, as well as ASAP Rocky and Ice Spice, which is a weird quartet of performers. But Spike Lee has not made a movie, I believe, since The Five Bloods, which was a few years ago now, probably 4 or 5 years ago. And I know some people are a little critical of this because he has remade a classic of Asian cinema before, and it was Old Boy, and people seem to really hate his remake of Old Boy. But this is a very different situation because the original Old Boy and the remake, there's only like 8 or 9 years separating it, and Old Boy, the original, is a very modern film. Whereas with High and Low, we're 60 years separated from that film, so like there's a lot that's changed in society and even like in filmmaking that could make this an entirely different movie. And I do think Denzel Washington is going to be great in this lead role. I could see him, making an Oscar run. Not that that necessarily matters, but just that it would be cool to see Denzel, get another Oscar, or at least get a huge acclaim for a performance, as he seems to be kind of winding down on his career. Yeah, great to see Spike Lee back. Number 5, we have Nouvelle Vague. This is the latest from Richard Linklater, who is one of my favorite filmmakers. I'm from Austin, he's from Austin. I think he's great. He also premiered another movie called, I think, Blue Moon at the Berlin Film Festival, so he's gonna have 2 movies coming out this year. This one is premiering at Cannes because it's very French centric, as you could probably tell by the title. It is about the production of Jean-Luc Godard's 1960 classic Breathless, which is kind of the film that brought in the French New Wave. Yeah, I think Linklater is very influenced by the French New Wave in his films, so he's a very great director to make a movie that is a love letter to that film movement. And I just think he's great. I think Hitman was incredible last year, and this obviously is going to be a very different movie from Hitman, but I just trust Linklater with anything, and I think that he's going to be very passionate about this subject matter, which I also am very passionate about. I love the French New Wave, so I'm very excited about this. Number 4, we have Sentimental Value, which is a new one from Joachim Trier. He is teaming up with Renate Reinsve, I think is how you say her name. Again, after they did Worst Person in the World, which is the only Trier movie I've seen, but I think it's incredible, so good, and I would love to see her in a lead performance in a Trier movie again. She's going to be the lead in this, along with a pretty stacked cast, including Stellan Skarsgård, Elle Fanning, Corey Michael Smith. I don't know anything about this movie. I'm sure it's going to be like a dramedy. I don't know if it's going to be in the same vein as Worst Person in the World, but whatever it is, I think the talent here means that it's going to be something really special. Number 3 is Eddington, a movie that I think could go either way. It could be kind of a disaster, but if it is going to be a disaster, it's going to be a really interesting disaster. It could also be one of the best movies of the year. This is Ari Aster's follow-up to Beau is Afraid. It stars Joaquin Phoenix and Pedro Pascal, as well as supporting performances from Austin Butler and Emma Stone. So just that cast alone is really exciting. The plot has been kept largely under wraps, but it's apparently about a small town sheriff who is played by Joaquin, who like refuses to wear a mask at the grocery store, and then like that causes this upheaval, but then he ends up running for mayor of the town of Eddington, and then Pedro plays the current mayor, and I guess I don't know, that makes it sound like a political thriller, or like a political drama. Knowing Ari Aster, I'm sure something is going to be happening here that we don't quite know yet. And the fact that it's been kept so under wraps, there hasn't even been a trailer. There's been like a couple of stills that have been circulating, and I think a poster came out that was very ambiguous. I think the fact that it's being kept so under wraps means that there's something here that Ari Aster doesn't want us to know, and I cannot wait to see what that is. I think he's one of the most exciting filmmakers in the world, and I can't wait for this. Number 2 is The Phoenician Scheme, which the trailer for this came out a few days ago. I didn't watch it because I'm not watching trailers. I want to like go in blind to movies, especially because I'm already sold on Phoenician Scheme. I absolutely love Wes Anderson, and I specifically love what Wes Anderson has been doing lately. I think French Dispatch is one of his best movies, Asteroid City as well. I know a lot of people criticize him for making the same movie over and over again, but I do think there's differences in his movies. I do think he's, examining different things narratively and thematically. And while the look, the visuals, and the cast are always pretty similar, he's always doing something to spice it up and always like pushing himself to be more Wes Anderson-y, if that makes any sense. This one is a heist movie centered around a father-daughter relationship. Benicio del Toro and Mia Thurtopolton? Mia Thurepleton play the father and the daughter. I also have Michael Cera, who's gonna have a big role in this movie, and Michael Cera, one of my favorite actors, and really fits the Wes Anderson aesthetic. And then you have like a lot of the typical Wes Anderson players. Tom Hanks returning from Asteroid City, Bryan Cranston, Riz Ahmed, who's a new addition, Scarlett Johansson, Jeffrey Wright, Benedict Cumberbatch, Willem Dafoe, and I'm sure more that I'm forgetting right now. But yeah, again, like I said, Wes Anderson, I'm already sold. I love Wes Anderson, and I saw a few seconds of the trailer. It looks great. It looks like he's still leaning into that hyper stylized thing that he's been doing for the past several years, and I think that style has really been working. I think a heist movie by Wes Anderson sounds incredible. It sounds like an absolute blast, and yeah, one of my most anticipated movies of the entire year. Before I do number one, I'm going to talk about a couple movies I'm surprised weren't announced to premiere at Cannes. Die My Love, which is the new Lynn Ramsey movie with Jennifer Lawrence and Robert Pattinson. Father, Mother, Sister, Brother, which is the new Jim Jarmusch movie. Everyone was predicting this to premiere at Cannes. I don't know what happened. Maybe this is, gonna be a fall release, but I don't know. The Way of the Wind, which is a new Terrence Malick film. This one is more understandable because I know Malick takes quite a while to make his films, and maybe he doesn't think this is done yet. But it is still kind of disappointing. Entertainment System is Down, which is a new Ruben Östlund film. I think almost all of Östlund's movies have premiered at Cannes. I know Triangle of Sadness and The Square did. I know he's won the Palme d'Or at least once, possibly twice, but I can't remember. So yeah, he's a Cannes regular, and the fact that he is not coming out with this movie as a Cannes premiere probably means it's not coming out this year. This one he's only really briefly talked about how he filmed on an actual airplane with a huge cast. So that's as far as I know about it. It could be that I just thought it was coming sooner than it was, but yeah. And then the last one is No Other Choice, which is a new Park Chan-wook thriller. I hope this is coming out this year. I really hope it's coming out this year because I love Park Chan-wook. But again, not in the Cannes list. Anyway, I'll say the number one movie. But again, I'm mainly just making this video just to talk about movies I'm very excited for that are coming out. I'm not going to Cannes, but the fact that these are premiering at Cannes means that they're all coming out very soon. And the majority of these don't have release dates, aside from Phoenician Scheme and Mission Impossible. All of these don't have dates on them yet. So hopefully we're getting Eddington in the summer, along with all these other movies. But yeah, number one is The Mastermind, which is maybe the movie I'm most excited about this year. It stars Josh O'Connor, and it is a Kelly Reichardt movie, who she's one of my favorite filmmakers in the world right now. I thought Showing Up, her last movie, was incredible. This sounds very different from Reichardt's typical work, not only because she's working with Josh O'Connor, someone that she has never worked with before, but also because it's also a heist movie. So I guess my top two are both heist movies centered around the Vietnam War, which seems like not Reichardt's thing. Reichardt's very slow cinema, very character driven, very quiet, and usually plotless movies. But occasionally she has gone into more conventional, narrative driven filmmaking. So I guess this isn't a total anomaly, but it does get me kind of excited to see something new from Reichardt, because while I do love what she usually does, it's also always cool to see a filmmaker try something new, especially when you know they're so talented that they are going to do a really great job. Aside from Josh O'Connor, Alina Haim, is that how you say it? Alina Haim is also in this movie, and John Magaro, who has been in the past couple of her movies, and I think is incredible. So yeah, I cannot wait for this movie. Josh O'Connor is one of my favorite new up-and-coming actors. Reichardt, pairing him with Reichardt just gets me even more excited for a new Reichardt movie. And yeah, in terms of what I think will win the awards, I'm not gonna speculate, but it would be cool if the Mastermind won. I feel like Eddington would be a really really funny pick to win the Palme d'Or, but I do know that Neon, who has distributed or maybe produced, I'm not entirely sure, but they've been involved in the past few the Palme d'Or winners. They've been like on a crazy streak. I'm not sure if they're just picking up any film that wins the Palme d'Or, but I'm pretty sure they're producing and distributing them, and then they end up winning the Palme d'Or. So, Anora, Anatomy of a Fall, Titan, all won the Palme d'Or, and all were Neon movies. So the two Neon movies this year are Sentimental Value and Alpha. So maybe Sentimental Value could win. I could certainly see that happening. I don't think Alpha will win just because Julia DiCarno already won one for Titan. But I don't know. I'm mainly just excited to see these movies when they actually come out. So yeah, that is all I got. I'm done.